Thanks for joining. Today's class is going to be on creating bar charts and pie charts. We may even dive a little bit into creating some pivot tables, which is a lot of fun. A pivot table is used to, analyze large sets of data. So we'll see how far we get today. Should be a fun class that I'm looking forward to. This is our last Excel class, and so we will see how it goes, and we may revisit maybe down the road. But for the current period and for the foreseeable future, this is going to be our last Excel class. But I'm looking forward to moving on to working in PowerPoint starting next week, and then after that, going into Google Docs at the end of April. And so with that, I just wanted to start by asking some questions. Feel free to unmute. I love when folks participate. It helps me a lot. It lets me know that you guys are tracking on what's going on. So just a quick question to kind of get things going here. Survey question is, how do you get to class? So let's say here, this is data visualization. Anytime you see a bar chart or you see a pie chart, they're essentially visualizing a table, right? So many of us have taken a survey before, and the survey asks a ton of different things. What do the companies do with that information? Typically, they turn it into something like this. They're going to turn it into some type of a data visualization where they can visualize, and you can see, right, that like over here, let's say they did a survey on how do people get to class, and they had all the participants add up, and 2 people got to class on a bike. Let's say 12 arrived on a car, bus and train, 14, walk is right in between 6 and 8. So that would be a 7. And then down here on other, they have 4. So a bar chart's really nice. If you want to just very quickly compare and see, you can very quickly, right, see that, okay, yep, bus and train is the highest and bike is the lowest in this case. So easy to see trends over time, especially sometimes maybe if you're looking at a budget, you might have January, February, March, April, May, because you're looking at your spending or something like that. It might be easy to see some trends in your spending when you look at a bar chart. So I do like doing that. Down here, we have a pie chart. Pie charts are a lot of fun also because it's showing the percentages, right? So here, we're more concerned with the percentage of the whole. So for instance, here you can see that obviously gray, bus and train, is the largest percentage of the pie. So let's see, how big is the pie? The pie is 4, 7, that's 11, 14, 25, plus 12, what is that, 37, and then 2 more, so 39. So in this particular survey, they had 39 participants, and this is how many was using each different way of transportation to get to class. But then out of that 39, so 39 out of 39, right, would be 100%. So here you can see that this percent used the bus, this percent used the car. You can see a very small piece of the folks used the bike. So it's just a different way to visualize the data. Oftentimes when working in a business environment, you will find that business folks really do appreciate and like data visualization over just sometimes looking at a table. So this is going to be an important class to teach some of the basic concepts on how do you create a chart like this bar chart here, or a chart like this pie chart down here from a table. And so that's what we're going to look at. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up a table that we're going to be working off of today. So as you can see here, I'll just zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. So here we have a table, and it's the same exact data that we just looked at. So we have a table. Let's say, again, we took a survey of 39 folks. I'm actually just going to do, you guys have been to some of my previous classes. You know that to get the sum of all of these, so if we wanted to add up this column here, these numbers, we would come here just below where the last number is that we want to add, and we can come up here to auto sum, like that. It highlights and says, oh, so you want to sum B2, which would be this cell, B and 2, down to B6, B, and then row 6. So everything from B2 to B6 is what this means. When you do B2 colon B6, you mean that entire range is what you want to select. And so I'm just going to hit enter, and it adds it up and confirms that yes, 39 is the total. And so if we wanted to make a chart of this though, primarily we're going to be working in the insert tab here at the top. So we always have our tabs at the top, and then below our tabs, for each tab, you have a different ribbon. This is your ribbon here in the middle. 1 second, let's see. Okay, yeah, this is your ribbon here in the middle. So as you switch around and you go to, let's say, the insert tab, see here you can insert a pivot table, you can insert pictures. Here's where we're going to insert our charts. You can insert maps and pivot charts. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. You can also come here to page layout. You can change the layout. This is where you set up to print, which we worked on in our last class under the page layout menu. Formulas, there's a lot of formulas you can use in Microsoft Excel. Here we have a data place where we can sort our data and so forth. So a lot of different things you can do in Excel, but primarily today we're going to be working on building on some charts. And so to build a chart, what you want to do is you want to start by creating a selection of the entire area, all the data that you want in the chart. And so let's go back just really briefly and look at what's in this chart. So we want to create this chart from this table over here, right? So we can see how it matches, right? Bike 2, and here you see data visualization of bike and 2. Car 12, and here you see on the bar chart, car and 12. Same thing, bus and train. 14, walking 7, and then other is 4. And so our data is the name of the transportation device and just the number of people that use it to get there. So this would be called our y-axis here on the left. Usually the numbers are on the left, the y-axis, and then here on the bottom, you have bike, car, bus, train, walk, other. This is our x-axis. So the x-axis is always going to be the one that goes from left to right. It's normally going to be the titles, okay? And so what we want to do in order to start creating our chart is we just want to select that data. So I'm going to left click right here on bike. I'm going to left click and hold. And then I'm going to scroll down as I hold my clicker down. So now I've selected all of the methods, but now I want to select the corresponding amounts or the numbers. So then I just scroll over. And now I can release my clicker. So I'm going to do that again. So again, to make the selection, you want to select all of the data that you want included in your table. So I'm just going to left click on bike, scroll down and to the right. And when I get to 4, this is all of the data. I'm going to release my clicker. And again, that's left clicking with my pointer finger. And now we have all the data selected here. Excel makes it extremely convenient to make a quick bar chart. They've made it quite easy, but all we need to do is navigate now over to the insert menu here. And on the insert menu, if you come here to the middle, you'll see that there's some little icons here. Again, this is the ribbon. All of these icons here are the ribbon, but specifically here in the middle of the ribbon, you see we have an area called charts, and that's where we're going to be working. So again, we have our area selected. That's always going to be step 1. And then step 2 is to come up here and select the type of chart that you want. So in this case, let's say we want to do a bar chart. So I'm just going to click bar chart. And it gives me a couple options. I can do something like this. That looks similar to what we just saw. All of these kind of look the same. So you can see, oh, there's a 3D chart. That one's kind of nice looking. I kind of like that one. Let's see, it could go a sideways chart, right? Where you actually have the titles on the left and then the numbers go left to right. You can do a bar chart that way. Okay, so just to make the simple and use the one that they did, we're just going to go ahead and click this one here and notice that it actually goes ahead and puts it into my spreadsheet. Notice that it actually covered up my table over here. So to move your chart around, you can go to anywhere in the white area of the chart. You don't want to be in here. You can't really move it around. You want to be somewhere up here above the title where there's not anything. Anytime you see that you see what my cursor looks like, it's that kind of that dark cross. You can just, again, left click and hold, and we can move the chart around. So again, I'm going to left click and hold, and I can move the chart around to make sure it's not overlapping anything that I might want to see. And so I'm going to release it. And now we have our nice little bar chart. Looks kind of nice, looks really good. Up here is our title. Let's say we wanted to add a title to this one, and we wanted to tell our customer or whoever's going to be viewing this exactly what are we doing here. So I'm going to call this how students get to class. And again, to do that, I just clicked up here one time, puts the box around the text. If you click one more time, then you can get in there and I can hit backspace to get rid of everything to the left of my cursor. My cursor's the blinking straw kind of there. If I hit delete on my keyboard, it'll get rid of things to the right. So for instance, notice that class is to the right of my cursor and how to set to is to the left. If I hit delete, it's going to delete everything to the right. So delete, notice that it deletes from the right. And now, if I wanted to delete everything to the left, you can use the backspace button on your keyboard, backspace, backspace. And I'm just going to hit that a couple times, and there we are. We're back to nothing. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and put a title in there, how students get to class. And then just click anywhere off of it, and it'll save that there. And now you have your bar chart. Okay, pretty easy. One of the fun things you can do once you have your chart is you can, again, select the chart. And now we have actually an extra menu up here. Notice in green up here, we have chart design and format. If I click off of the chart, notice that those go away. So those are only available when you're actively selected the chart. So to access them again, we want to click the chart. And now we can see that there's a extra menu here, design and format. So let's take a look at design. I like to look at this one. So this one's a lot of fun. I really enjoy this one because all I have to do, if I want to try and do a different format of my chart, I want to basically keep it the same, but maybe play with the colors, maybe do some, effects to make it stand out, be a little bolder. All you have to do is up here, you see there's many different options. You can just literally put your mouse on top of that option. You don't even have to click. So notice this one, what changes on this one? On this one, it actually gives you the number on top. So notice there's not a scale on the left. So this is our normal one. We have the scale on the left and we have the items on the bottom. If you go to this chart, I just went to the right a little bit under chart design. Notice that now the scale went away on the left because it's giving you the number on top of the bar. This one just changes the format a little bit, right? Just kind of some different effects there with the colors. I like this one because it gives you the number right there inside of the bar chart. It's pretty nice. Same thing, just a little bit different background. And so I'm just kind of cruising through to figure out which one of these I like. Here, you see that there's a drop down here, so I can hit this arrow to see more options, or I can hit this arrow at the bottom and see more. I can see all of the visual options that are available. And again, I can just kind of cruise through them. I like that one, it's pretty cool. All right, some basic ones. This one's got a little bit of fade on the colors. Here's a nice one with the black, pretty nice. So I'm actually going to select that one. I like that one. So I'm going to go ahead and click that up here. So I'm going to left click it. And now that stays as my live chart. Again, if I want to move it around, I can just come here, kind of play with it, move it around. You can also, if you wanted to change the colors in the bar chart, we can come up here to the left and we can let's change maybe the colors. Let's try that one. Let's see if that does anything. Any of these palettes change anything. Oh, we got some green, got some orange. And both of those look like they're blue. So let's go with green for now, okay? What's over here under quick layout? Under quick layout, notice there's some options. And again, I'm just going through the menu under chart design, just kind of exploring what we have up here in our menu. So under chart design, this is our primary one. So we can see that it is nice, right? If we go over to the right, it just moves series up to the top. Let's try this one here. Again, doesn't give us a whole lot difference. Kind of the same. This one's interesting. What do you think about this one? This one gives you the numbers at the bottom of the chart. So you have your reference numbers at the bottom. So there's different formats you can use, you can play around with. That one's pretty cool, right? It gives you the numbers inside. So I'm just going to select that one. That's pretty nice. I like that one. So a nice looking chart, right? Very professional looking. These are the type of things you would expect to see if you're in any type of a business environment and you're handling data on a daily basis. You're probably going to see some charts that look like this. And, you know, they come in different formats. Again, I want to go to chart design. Let's go here and see if we can change it to like a 3D. So there, I just selected the chart. I went back to insert and I went up here. Again, the same place where we created the bar chart, but instead of selecting the 2D model, I now selected the 3D model. So select there. That's pretty sharp. That's pretty sharp. I like that. Yeah, it looks pretty good. How students get to class. So that's essentially how you create a bar chart, guys. You know, everything is going to be either under the insert menu or if not, once you select the chart, you get these extra menus up here. One for formatting and you get one for chart design. And so we played around with that. So now let's go back and make a pie chart. So again, same way, we're going to start the same exact way. We're going to select the data here on the left, which is our methods for getting to school or to class rather. And then here's our numbers. So we, again, select the same exact data, but this time we want to, again, go to insert. But again, we don't want to do a bar chart this time. Let's do a pie chart. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to click on pie chart and it gives me some options. Here's the basic 2D pie chart. You've got this one here. You've got a couple different variances. You can do a 3D pie chart. You can do a donut that'll show like a percentage on like a, let's say that's kind of more like a clock, right? It goes around one time and it shows you those percentages. I'm going to choose the normal one that we saw at the beginning. And I'm going to go ahead and move our bar chart out of the way. Just give me a second. Just going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to move our bar chart just over here. And now I'm going to move our pie chart here in the middle. We'll zoom back in a little bit so we can see what we're working with. So what do we got here? Same thing that we saw in the beginning, right? So we looked at a chart just like this, and we're charting the same exact data. But again, this time we're actually breaking it down and seeing it by percentage, right? So orange would be car. This is the percentage of people that travel by car. So again, same thing. We're under chart design up here at the top. And I'd like you to just kind of play around. Let's just scroll over and see what some of these look like. That one's kind of nice, a little shaded. This one's nice. It gives you some percentages. Same thing here. Here in chart title, those kind of colors look a little bit bolder. Again, this one's got a little bit of a fade, a little bit of transparency look. Again, I like this one. I do like that sharp contrast of the dark. I got to be honest with you. I'm going to select this one again. I'm going to select this one. And then I'm going to go to layout just like we did previously. And I want to see if there's a layout that would put the numbers inside of each one of the pieces of pie. So let's see if we can find one that does that. Oh, there we go. There we go. But notice that in the yellow, it's kind of hard to see the walk percent, right? It says walk and it says 18%, but that's really hard to see. Let's see if we can change the font color to make it a little bit easier to read. Let's see. So I selected that. Let's go to format. Oh, there we go right there. Let's fill with black. Okay, so text outline, text fill. Let's see. We can go with red. We can go with blue. You want something that's going to be able to be read on all of them, right? I think black is probably the most appropriate. So we just went with black. And so we can see that 5% of the people take a bike, 10% take other, 31% car. So this is very useful and just, again, visualizing this table over here using a chart. So let's see what else we can do here. I'm going to go back to chart design. Going to change colors and let's just go, let's explore. Again, you don't even have to click these under change colors in the menu here. You can just kind of put your mouse over it and it'll display a preview of what that would look like. I honestly like this one mostly. So let's go with that one there. Okay. Again, if we wanted to change this to a 3D chart, we could go back to the insert menu, click on pie chart, and choose the 3D menu. And there you go. Notice that it popped this one out because the 5% maybe wasn't going to fit in there. What happens if we select a piece and try to pull it apart? Ah, you can even pull a piece apart. That's really nice. So so you have your pie and everything's nice and tight, but let's say there's a piece that you wanted to pull out to highlight. Let's say we want to pull out the bike piece. You can kind of pull that out. Kind of nice. But now that the bike is not on here, it's a little bit hard to see. So I'm going to go back again and I'm going to actually do some text fill and explore what colors we have available. Now let's do white. And you can see that okay. Yeah, that's not bad. And then again, last thing we want to do is we want to fix our title. So let's see. This is a little bit close to the title. I want to see if I can bring this down, get this thing out of the way. That's really close. There we go. Just to get a little bit away from the title bar here. Same thing here. Just move this one over a little bit. Okay, so now chart title, we're going to call it how students get to class by percent or something like that. You know, have fun with it, play around with it. And so that is creating your pie chart. I think that looks really good. What do you guys think? We got our pie chart and we've got our bar chart. Any feedback, any questions on how we did that? All right, sounds good. Feel free, if you do have any questions, feel free to just put something in the chat. I am monitoring the chat and I'll be able to see that and respond there. So that is how we do our bar chart and our pie chart. So now I'm just going to do one more demonstration. So I'm going to just come down here. Notice that we're on sheet 2. So this is one big spreadsheet. You can have lots of data on here. You can have multiple charts. I'm going to make one more spreadsheet and I'm going to do seasons and I'm going to do I'm just gonna call it love, right? And how many seasons do we have? We've got spring, we've got summer, we've got fall and winter. And let's say we took a survey. Just going to zoom in here again so you guys can see what I'm working on. Let's say we took a survey and we asked people, hey, what's your favorite season? And let's say we took a survey of 100 people. Now let's do 1,000. Let's just have fun with it. Why not? Let's say we surveyed 1,000 people to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do sum. Again, B2 to B5, B2, B5. And I haven't put any numbers in there yet, but I wanted to add up as I add these numbers. So let's say out of the survey, 42 people said that spring is their favorite. Let's say 49 said that they really, no, let's do, oh, you know what? Let's not do quite 42. Let's do 24. Summer, I'm going to say like 54% said that that's their favorite season. Fall, I'm going to do 16, and that leaves 6% for winter, right? So I'm going to just say out of a survey, actually, oh, we said we were doing 1,000. So 240, 540, 160, and 60. Right, there we go. So we took a survey of 1,000 people, 240, their favorite season is spring, 540 summer, 160 fall, and 60 people said winter was their favorite. And so I want to show you guys again, just to give us a second stab at it. How do we take this information and put it into a nice little chart? So right here, I'm just going to, again, highlight the data that I want charted. I don't want the 1,000 charted. I only want the seasons, and I want how many people chose that season as their favorite season. So I'm going to, again, select by holding down on spring, hold down my left click, move down, move to the right. Once I've got all the data selected, I'm going to go ahead and actually release it. And then we're going to come over to insert. And I am going to go here to bar chart right here in the middle where it says insert. What does it say? Insert a column or a bar chart. So I'm going to pull that down and I'm going to do a 3D chart right there. And nice little chart. I'm going to go ahead and select my favorite one again, right here. And actually that one right there. And then we need to add a title in here. And I'm going to call this the favorite seasons. Okay, and that's your bar chart up here in the chart design. Remember, we can always kind of mess around and play with this and see which one we like the most. This one's kind of cool, right? It says spring, summer, fall, winter at the bottom. So that was kind of nice. Again, I like this one. Maybe we can change the colors and do something with orange. Really nice. Yep, really nice. And again, to do this with a pie chart, let's do the same thing. We want to grab the data here. So we've got spring all the way down to 60. And I'm going to come up to insert. And now I'm going to, again, choose pie chart. And let's go ahead and do a 3D one. Why not? And again, I am going to go ahead and move my bar chart out of the way just so it doesn't get lost back there. Just going to scoot that over. Let's go ahead and move this one up. And so here you can see that we've got now our, this is our pie chart. And very nice looking. So let's click it. And again, let's look at some of our options and see what we have available under the chart design tab. So I'm going to just zoom in for you guys so you can see again what I'm working on. So again, remember, if you don't have your chart selected, you won't have the tab up here for chart design. So you have to make sure, again, you don't want to necessarily click in here. I usually like to click out here in the white area. That way I don't move anything around. So I'm just going to click in the white area. We get chart design menu here at the top. Let's go ahead and left click that. And then let's just browse through and see what we've got here. So we've got fall, winter, spring. That one looks kind of nice. Again, another one here. All of these look pretty good. I do want one that gives me the percentage in each. So I'm kind of looking to see. Oh, there we go. I like that one. It gives me the percentage in each one. And then I actually want to, let's say you're doing a presentation, you really wanted the 54% to stand out. Again, you can come here and just grab it and just click and hold, left click and hold. You can bring it down and it'll break that piece apart. Let's just break all of them apart a little bit. All right, there you go. You can click and hold, and again, just bring them all apart if you like, or you can just bring them back in as you like, whatever works best for you and what you're trying to present. Okay, now I brought it all back together. So now I'm just going to bring out all the pieces again. Pretty nice little chart. Again, up here at the top, let's get our cursor in there. Let's get our cursor all the way at the end. Our cursor is that blinking line at the end, right at the end of title. And again, if you hit backspace, it'll delete everything to the left of your cursor. So I'm just going to hit backspace until everything is gone. And then I'm going to add a title, and we're going to call this Seasons We Love, something like that. Okay. So now we have our pie chart. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is creating charts and graphs using Microsoft Excel. A lot of the times, this information that we put into the graphs and charts, it does come from surveys. Like this would be a survey, right? We surveyed 1,000 people, and in the spring, 240 people love it, 540 love summer. What would be the purpose of using something like this? If you were in sales, imagine, and you were thinking about, let's say you had I don't know, some clothes, and you were trying to figure out what colors you wanted to make a certain shirt. Do you want to do it in red? Do you want to do it in white? And you do a survey. So you show the clothes to 1,000 people, and then you survey them, and you get their results. And then you can graph those results into something like this to share with leadership and say, hey, 54% of the people we surveyed said that they would like the white shirt over all of them. Well, that's going to drive decision making. So you can start to see how surveys and data drive decision making. And I really enjoy this stuff. This is what I do full time. Is I work with data on a daily basis to drive decision making, because the data and surveys will tell you what people want. It'll tell you what they're expecting, what they're excited about, what they're not excited about. And this is probably the reason, if you have a Gmail account or a Yahoo here, anytime you use a service, you often get an email and says, hey, thanks for using our service. Would you please fill out this quick survey? Why do they want you to fill out that survey? They don't necessarily want your specific results, but what they're doing is they're going to normally aggregate those results. So they're going to take all the results from a whole month, let's say for the month of March, right? We're in the last days of March now. And then they're going to go back, and some data analyst somewhere is going to take all those survey results and they're going to put it into a table, but no manager or high level CEO really wants to see this. They don't want to see chart. They don't want to see graphs. They don't want to see tables. I'm sorry. They want to see graphs. They want to see colors. They want to see things that excite them to look at, because it's very easy to make a decision based off of this chart. You got to look a little bit harder here. Much easier to see it when you have some colors and you percentages and so forth. So I just want to share that, and that's really why it's so important to take your time and really try to learn some of these skills. In Microsoft Excel, especially, it is a very powerful tool that I think can add a lot of value and give you some skills that you can use to continue to up your skills and do better at your place of work. And so that is graphs and charts. So now I want to just switch over really quick. And because we have a little bit of extra time, it's 6:40, I'm going to open up a very large table here. This is a table that's got over or almost 4,000 rows of data. So 3,977 rows of data. And there's just a ton of information in here. Right now, the way that it's set up, this is like a inventory for watches. So I'm just going to actually take that and paste it here. Then I'm going to stretch it across and pull this up. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. This is a inventory for watches. You've got the number of watches, you got the name of the watch, details, what's the new price, there's a discount percent, and then I just put over here extra column for, is it for sale right now? A yes or a no. A very simple question. But if you are wanting to analyze this spreadsheet and really understand, what do I have available for sale right now and what do I not have available? Maybe you are getting ready to put in a purchase order to replace items that are not available anymore. You've sold out. Like for instance here, right? We have these two watches, and over here it says for sale and it says no and no. That means you need to reorder that watch so you can get it back in inventory so you can get a sale. And so let's say you were the data analyst and your boss comes to you and say, hey, can you look at this spreadsheet and tell me which items are currently not for sale because we're out of stock, and then what is the price of those items? Because we have the price here. So then you can tell them these are the things we need to order, and here's going to be the total cost for that order. And so to do that, we would create a pivot table. You could do it with some manual work here. You could kind of go line by line and say, okay, this one says no, and you can take out a calculator and add up 3,995. Okay, this one says no, add up that 3,997, but that's just going to take a long time. One of the things that's powerful about Excel is it'll do all that math for you. You just have to have a little bit of skill and a little bit of training. I'll tell you guys what I told the class on Tuesday. If you don't remember any of this, just remember that you can do it, and feel free to always go find maybe another detailed YouTube video. Here we're kind of explaining a lot in this one video, but there are lots of different tutorials out there. You can follow this one that I'm recording now. You can follow other ones. There's a lot of material out there to teach you how to do pivot tables. And so for this particular case, I want to see all of the items that are no longer for sale and what's the price, so that management can go ahead and place that order and get those things back in inventory. So again, what's the first thing that we want to do is we want to select all of the information that we want to analyze. So I want to analyze all of this data. I didn't go ahead and put down a yes or a no for all 4,000. I just did the first 74, but it serves the same purpose. It doesn't matter what the number is. The number could be 74 that we're analyzing. It could be 10,000. It doesn't matter. So in this case, we've got our selection, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to insert. So previously we were doing a bar chart, right? Now I want to come over here and I want to do a pivot table. So it's this thing here in the left. You may not know what that means yet. I'm going to show you once we do it. So let's go ahead and hit pivot table. And it says, where do you want to put your pivot table? Notice also that it gives me this green kind of rotating line. That tells me that the area I have selected is from A2, and it's right here in the middle, A2 to F77. So A2 down to the right, F77. And it says, do you want to put this pivot table in a new worksheet or an existing worksheet? I'm just going to say new. And it creates an extra tab down here. Initially, this was our tab we were working in. Now it just created an extra tab. I'm just going to right click and do rename and call it Watches Pivot. Okay. And then over here on the far right, you see that there's some options on what we can add to the table. What are these? It says number, name, detail, new price, discount. These are our headers, right? Remember our headers up here? These are our headers. And so with a pivot table, one of the fun things you can do, again, we're looking for the items that are no longer for sale and then the price of those items. So let's say we wanted to do a filter. And I'm going to also bring down the price and values. Okay, I want to make prices. All I did was click here on the arrow because we know that this should be a dollar figure, right? So I'm just going to click on that arrow, do value field settings. And it's going to say, oh, what do you want to do? I want the sum and I want a number format, but I want it in currency. So I'm going to go ahead and select currency, hit OK, and hit OK. So you can see the total value for all the watches is $587,433. But again, remember, we only want to see the ones that are not available right now. So for sale, I put for sale here, and it gives me a drop down. And under for sale, I can select in, I can select no, or I can select yes. I want to select no and hit OK. Oh, so now our number went down because I only filtered for the items that have, again, going back to our spreadsheet, in this column, if it says no, only if it says no, is it going to add it up in my pivot table now. So I'm filtering for items where that column for sale says no. And it says we have $259,150 in items that are not for sale right now because they're out of inventory. And then the last thing we want to do is we want to bring down details and put it in rows. And there is your list of items that are not for sale because they ran out of inventory. And here's their values. And at the bottom, it gives you a sum. Okay. So we can see that we have about 26 items that are out of stock. Because again, we filtered for no, for the word no, in the column that says for sale. I said I wanted to see only the items that are no. Let's say if we did all of the items if we hit yes and no. Then we have 587,000. Okay. Let's go ahead and refresh. But again, we want to only see the items that are no's. So again, I do no. I've got my price over here. I've got the name of it. And this is an easy report that I could print out for a supervisor and say, hey, here is all of the items that are not in stock anymore. Here's the price. Please go order those items. And we did that using a pivot table. We didn't have to go back to this table and go line by line and say, okay, this one says no, this one says no. We were able to go back to the pivot and it just summarizes that data for us. Boom, you have a question.